This is the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa bagong Pilipinas.
Good evening, this is 13 News.
We bring you the day's top stories
that shape the country and the world.
Let's get into the headlines right now. Tropical depression Luis makes landfall in Isabela, triggering floods and prompting relief efforts nationwide.
Day 11 of the impeachment trial. Prosecution zeroes in on confidential fund misuse.
Savings await electricity consumers as ERC orders a 9.5 billion refund from the power giant Meralco.
Slight relief at the pump as motorists welcome a bit of rollback in fuel prices.
And Spider-Man swings into history as Brand New Day smashes records with almost $1 billion debut.
All these and more here on 13 News.
First in the news tonight, the Senate impeachment court has moved into the 11th day of the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, with the prosecution shifting its focus to the alleged misuse of confidential funds.
A former Commission on Audit state auditor testified that several expenses and supporting documents submitted by the Office of the Vice President failed to comply with existing rules on the use of confidential funds.
The prosecution also presented additional documents and receipts as it sought to support its allegations involving millions of pesos in confidential funds.
IBC News correspondent Patrick Gupo sends us off.
As the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte entered its 11th day, boxes containing documents related to the alleged confidential fund expenditures were brought into the Senate impeachment court. The prosecution continued presenting evidence under Article 1 of the Articles of Impeachment, which centers on the alleged misuse of more than 600 billion pesos in confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. Former Commission on Audit Intelligence and Confidential Funds Audit Office State Auditor Roderick Wamil testified before the witness stand. Wamil testified that several expenses liquidated by the Office of the Vice President were not allowable under the 2015 Joint Circular governing the use of confidential funds.
Based on this document po, some of the line items as presented po na confidential expenses ay hindi among the allowable expenses under item 4.8 of the Joint Circular. Yung letter E po, yung provision of medical and food aid for 40 million pesos at yung payment of incentives or traveling relative to confidential operations na 10 million pesos.
Wamil also explained that from 2014 to 2024, the only vice president who received confidential funds subject to his audit was Vice President Sara Duterte, since her predecessors had no such appropriations. The prosecution also highlighted that the 125 billion pesos in confidential funds released in December 2022 was spent within just 11 days instead of the entire fourth quarter.
Napansin ko po na hindi po in-enumerate ng Office of the Vice President yung kanilang specific confidential activities na kanilang ginawa.
Kailangan bang enumerate yan?
Doon po kasi namin tinitignan sa audit ng ICFAO kung yung kanilang confidential expenses or activities ay compliant doon sa item 4.8.
Meanwhile, the name Mary Grace Piatos again drew attention after the prosecution presented an acknowledgement receipt worth 70,000 pesos for an alleged payment of reward for medicines. Wamil said the document failed to comply with the 2015 Joint Circular because it was not supported by documentary evidence showing the success of the confidential operation.
Dahil hindi po ito properly supported by document evidencing success po.
The prosecution also presented other acknowledgement receipts bearing names such as Renan Piatos, Nova Santos, Miko Harina, Pati Ting, and others, which Wamil said also failed to meet the required documentation. He further testified that the OVP submitted only acknowledgement receipts instead of official receipts or sales invoices for purchases such as tables, chairs, and other items. Wamil also identified a discrepancy between the OVP's accomplishment report and his acknowledgement receipts, which reflected an excess of 150,000 pesos. Because of these findings, the Commission on Audit issued a notice of suspension, requiring the Office of the Vice President to submit additional documents and explanations before the disbursements could be cleared. The impeachment trial is set to continue tomorrow with the prosecution's presentation of evidence. Patrick Cupo, IBC News.
Sharp exchanges highlight the ongoing clash between Senators Alan Peter Cayetano and Ping Lacson over alleged ghost projects in Taguig City, Senator Cayetano's known political stronghold.
Tinanong pa siya sino sa mga ito ang gusto mo makasama sa langit? Ako yung tinuturo niya, ako yung gusto mong kasama. Ngayon, dahil sa nangyayari sa amin, ayoko sumama sa kanya, baka kung saan niya ako dalhin.
Well, Senator Lacson, hindi ka malulunod sa baha sa Taguig, malulunod ka sa katotohanan.
The dispute has dragged on for weeks, with Lacson pressing allegations and Cayetano firmly denying them. Yusek Castro stressed the need for deep investigations to settle the allegations once and for all. She reiterated that DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon will support all investigations to be conducted not only in Taguig but in all assemblies. Castro stressed that if there are no ghost projects, there is nothing to fear, but if there are, accountability must follow.
Kung wala namang ghost projects, walang dapat katakutan. Pero kung meron, ay dapat panagutan.
Cayetano has repeatedly denied ghost projects in his turf. Senator Erwin Tulfo, chairperson, Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Tulfo says he will call a caucus within the committee to decide the direction of their investigations.
The Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division has junked the Ombudsman's motion to leave to file amended information in its graft case, a move that seeks to drop former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan from the charge sheet for a lack of merit. In its resolution, the anti-graft court clarified this was not a prejudgment on Bonoan's possible role as a witness or the weight of his testimony. Prosecutors may still ask to exclude the former secretary at the proper stage of trial. Bonoan remains co-accused alongside Senator Jinggoy Estrada in the graft and plunder cases.
Tropical Depression Luis made landfall over Maconocan, Isabela at 5 o'clock p.m. Its maximum speed of wind is 45 kilometers per hour with a gust of up to 60 kilometers per hour. As you can see, its movement is northwestward at 20 kilometers per hour. Apart from Luis, Pag-asa is also monitoring Typhoon Dolphin, which remains outside the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR. It is not expected to directly affect any part of the country, but Tropical Depression Luis will still bring rains over some parts of the country. As of tonight, Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 1 is up over portions of Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, and other parts of Luzon. Expect heavy rainfall brought by the weather disturbance. Based on Pag-asa's tracker, Luis is expected to remain a tropical depression as it begins to recurve northeastward, moving away from the Philippine landmass. It is also seen to be fully absorbed into the circulation of Typhoon Dolphin. Luis brought heavy rains, which triggered flooding in several parts of Luzon, including Dagupan City and Pangasinan. This continuous rainfall also caused the Alminos Dam to overflow. Similar conditions were reported in Bolinao, Mandaue City, Lanar in Nueva, and Barangay Dianed in Aurora. Amid this, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, assured the public that more than 4.9 million family food packs have been pre-positioned for individuals affected by the storm. The DSWD has also deployed psychological support services, while the Philippine Coast Guard, local government units, and port authorities continue to assist stranded passengers. Authorities remain on alert for the possible effects of the weather disturbances.
More than 8 million Meralco customers are set to receive a refund after the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, ordered the power distributor to return over 9.5 billion pesos in over-collected charges. But how much can consumers expect to save from the refund? The refund covers over-collections from January to December 2025, following the completion of a rate reset that had been delayed for more than a decade. For residential consumers, the refund translates to a reduction of about 58 centavos per kilowatt hour, while the average refund across all consumer classes is about 34 centavos per kilowatt hour. The ERC said the refund may start as early as the next billing cycle. The actual refund will depend on a customer's monthly electricity consumption, and based on the estimated computation, a household consuming 100 kilowatt hours may receive around 34 pesos, while those consuming 400 kilowatt hours may receive 138 pesos over the 6-month implementation period. The refund is just one of several measures being pursued by the government to reduce the cost of electricity. Following President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s State of the Nation address, the Department of Energy, or DOE, has also begun its long-term reforms to reduce system loss and address the impact of value-added tax, or VAT, on power bills. The DOE has created a task force to study ways to reduce technical losses in the power grid through infrastructure improvements, while also working with the National Electrification Administration, or NEA, to improve metering systems and strengthen the detection of illegal connections. The agency ensures that the cost of the developments will not be passed on to consumers. And at the same time, the government continues to push for the passage of the Sariling Kuryente Act, which seeks to expand the use of solar panels and battery storage systems to give Filipinos more options for generating their own electricity. However, the DOE emphasizes that eliminating systems loss cannot happen overnight. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin says the reforms must be carefully planned to ensure they do not negatively affect the operations of electric cooperatives.
If William has good news for power consumers, I've got one for our motorists. Fuel prices will go down starting tomorrow. Gasoline prices will cut by 73 centavos per liter and diesel by 60 centavos per liter. Prices of kerosene will also drop by more than 2 pesos per liter. This is the first price cut for diesel and gasoline after 2 straight weeks of increases. The rollback comes after a decrease in global oil prices. Here's more good news. The LTFRB has announced that the 10 peso per liter fuel subsidy for jeepney and UV Express drivers is extended until August. The fuel discount was originally set to expire last July 31, but expanded for another month. Meanwhile, here's one for our commuters. For those who have their national ID cards, you may enjoy free rides at the MRT3 this month of August. This is in celebration of the anniversary of the signing of the Philippine Identification System, or PhilSys Act.
Stormed the gates of the Department of Labor and Employment this morning, protesting the botched 85 peso wage hike in Metro Manila. Despite tensions, Labor Secretary Francis Tolentino faced the demonstrators head-on, vowing to fight the court order that blocked the increase. Malacanang has stepped in, defending the wage order and stressing that the president's commitment is to fair pay for Filipino workers. IBC correspondent Victor Liantino has the full report.
Frustration boiled over outside the Department of Labor and Employment headquarters as labor groups protested the court order that halted the recent wage hike in Metro Manila. DOLE Secretary Francis Tolentino faced the crowd, assuring them that the government is already mounting a legal counter-offensive.
Siyempre malulungkot tayo kasi tayo yung nagbigay ng pagtataas ng sweldo. Tapos hinarangan ng husgado. Diba? Pero ngayon, dahil nasa husgado, bilang abogado, pinadala ko rin yung mga abogado natin doon para labanan.
Malacanang is backing the Labor Department, calling out the move to bypass the Regional Wage Board.
Ang dapat na naging remedyo ng sino man na sanang may concern dito ay nagsampa ng apila sa Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board at hindi sana sa korte. Ang Office of the Solicitor General ay ready naman po na ipaglaban po ang wage order na naipasa po para sa ating mga manggagawa.
The palace reiterated that the president remains committed to securing fair wages and will leverage existing mechanism until Congress enacts a new law. At the Senate, Labor Committee Chairperson Joel Villanueva urged the judiciary to act swiftly on the injunction to minimize the impact on the workforce.
I just hope and pray yung panawagan ko na i-resolve kaagad itong TRO na to.
Meanwhile, simultaneous protests erupted outside the Pasig Regional Trial Court. Members of Akbayan Party List condemned the TRO, with Representative Percy Sindanya arguing that the true sincerity to workers lies not in the court battles but in Congress passing the 200 peso legislated wage hike. Victor Liantino, IBC News.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, has reaffirmed its commitment in protecting the integrity of the senior high school voucher program following the conviction of an individual for defrauding the program. At the same time, the SHS voucher program continues for school year 2026 to 2027. A regional trial court convicted an individual for using falsified billing statements to defraud the SHS voucher program. The accused was sentenced for up to 14 years in prison and fined 100,000 pesos. Despite the controversy, the Private Education Assistance Committee continues the implementation of the Senior High School Voucher Program, which provides tuition subsidies for eligible learners. Beneficiaries, including grade 10 completers in public schools, may apply for the program through the online voucher application portal and submit required documents. Coming up next, the DC Open finale between Alex Ayala and Jessica Pegula resumes later at midnight. Stay tuned. This is 13 News.
Balitang nakala.
Mamulat ng kanyang mga si Presidente at si
Binantayan. Sinuri. Nilatag at inihayag. 13 sa tanghali. Kasama sina Greg Gregorio, Naj Miravalles at Zai Chua. 13 sa tanghali sa ganap na alauna dito sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the program. The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, has issued updated guidelines for children under the age of 15 working in the entertainment industry. Under the new guidelines, a working child permit must be secured prior to a child's participation in social media content creation or public entertainment activities. The child's parent or legal guardian should also be responsible for ensuring compliance with the rules. The advisory, issued by Labor Secretary Francis Tolentino, aims to strengthen the protection of the welfare, safety, and rights of child participants in accordance with existing laws and regulations. After his fifth SONA, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. spent the past week rolling out a series of initiatives, all for the benefit of the Filipino people. From infrastructure and healthcare to housing, agriculture, and livelihood, the chief executive moves to turn his commitments into action. IBC News senior correspondent Jinky Batagados has more.
From reforms laid out in a State of the Nation address to aid, housing, healthcare, energy, and livelihood, the Marcos administration ruled out a series of government initiatives in just 1 week. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. kicked off the week with his fifth State of the Nation address outlining his administration's accomplishments and next steps on the economy, education, infrastructure, social protection, and national security. Among the measures pushed before Congress were amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act or EPIRA to remove the system loss charges from consumers, the proposed Sariling Kuryente Act, and additional tax relief for workers and small businesses. The day after the SONA, the President moved from policy to projects on the ground. On Tuesday, he inspected the upgraded Davao de Oro Provincial Hospital Monte Vista, which was damaged by the magnitude 7.8 earthquake on June 8. He also visited People's Ville in Davao City, a condominium-type housing project aimed at helping reduce the city's housing backlog. Under the Bawat Bayan Makikinabang program, nearly 133 million pesos worth of agricultural machinery, farm inputs, and fisheries assistance were distributed to beneficiaries in Davao de Oro, Davao del Norte, and Davao Occidental. The President also witnessed the sale of about 14,000 kilos of affordable rice under the Benting Bigas Meron Na program. The President inaugurated the Philippines' first energy museum in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig, and encouraged the public to take part in the Department of Energy's Oras Natin's efficiency campaign. On Thursday, the President traveled to Tarlac for another Bawat Bayan Makikinabang activity. According to the President, nearly 2,000 local government units have already benefited from the Local Government Support Fund. From Tarlac, he proceeded to Pangasinan to inspect the newly rehabilitated PFDA Sual Fish Port Complex, part of the government's effort to modernize the fisheries infrastructure and strengthen the livelihoods of Filipino fisherfolk. From the SONA stage to projects in local communities, the administration's focus this week was twofold: long-term reforms and services Filipinos can benefit from now. Jinky Baticados, IBC News.
Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala will resume her grand finale match against world number 3 Jessica Pegula in the Mubadala GC Open later at 12 midnight. The final was suspended due to thunderstorms that left the court unplayable. The play was halted after Pegula took the opening set 6-4 while Ayala held a 2-1 lead in the second set. With the grand finale set to resume, Ayala is chasing her first career WTA singles title in just her second tour-level final. And for the first time ever, Team Spirit has ended Southeast Asia's dynasty to capture the 2026 Mobile Legends Bang Bang Mid-Season Cup, or MSC. Representing the Eastern Europe and Central Asia, or EECA region, Team Spirit made history after edging Myanmar's Yangon Galacticos 4-3 in a thrilling grand final. With the victory, Team Spirit ended Southeast Asia's long-standing dominance since the inaugural MSC tournament in 2017.
The latest Spider-Man film is off to a record-breaking start. Spider-Man Brand New Day has earned nearly $927 million worldwide during its opening weekend. The film posted the second biggest global box office debut of all time, trailing only Avengers Endgame. Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige thanked moviegoers for their support, saying the strong opening reflects the enduring popularity of the franchise. Pop star Ariana Grande is taking a break from public life after her Eternal Sunshine enters the next month. The singer's team says the decision comes amid what is described as endless, ongoing public scrutiny. Grande will also no longer star in the 2027 London revival of the musical Sunday in the Park with George, a decision the production team says it fully supports. The announcement comes as fans continue to express concern over the singer's well-being, with messages of support trending on social media. Meanwhile, Filipina Maria Katrina Legado is the new Miss Supranational 2026. Legado was crowned during the pageant's coronation night in Poland, ending the country's 13-year wait for the international title. The Taguig City native bested 66 other candidates to become only the second Filipina to win the international crown, following Mutia Datul's historic victory in 2013. Legado sealed her win with a final answer encouraging women to embrace their imperfections and become the best version of themselves. Her victory drew congratulatory messages from the Philippine pageant community, the Miss Universe Philippines organization, and several Filipina beauty queens. Tonight's world news, at least 5 people are dead, while more than 40 remain missing after a ferry caught fire in Indonesia. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump temporarily halts strikes against Iran as diplomatic talks are expected to continue. Let's have more of these international developments from CJ Reyes.
At least 5 people were killed and 41 others missing after an Indonesian passenger ferry caught fire off Madura Island. The Mutiara Sentosa II, carrying 271 people, was traveling from East Java to South Sulawesi when the captain reported a fire several hours into the voyage. The cause of the blaze remains under investigation as search and rescue operations continue. More than 200 people have been rescued thus far. The International Committee of the Red Cross has visited former Myanmar State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, who was detained after the military coup in 2021 and transferred from prison to house arrest. She remains convicted on multiple charges, which human rights groups have described as politically motivated. The ICRC said the visit followed its standard procedures for detention visits, giving people deprived of liberty the opportunity to maintain contact with their families. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has temporarily paused further strikes against Iran to allow more time for diplomatic efforts aimed at easing the conflict and restoring shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Trump warned that the U.S. will resume its strikes if the talks fail to produce an acceptable outcome. Talks are expected to continue in the coming days, although Iran has denied that it plans to send a delegation for direct negotiations with the U.S. Meanwhile, spectators were treated to a spectacular light show during this year's Nagaoka Fireworks Festival in Niigata, Japan. The festival features the Phoenix Fireworks display, which stretches across nearly 2 kilometers. CJ Reyes, IBC News.
Before we wrap up tonight's newscast, we bring you the results of the PCSO's 9 p.m. lottery draws. For the Mega Lotto 645, the winning numbers are 27, 29, 34, 8, 32, and 36 with a jackpot prize of 15 million pesos. For the Grand Lotto 655, the winning combination is 53, 2, 17, 44, 34, and 5 with a jackpot prize of 110,824,717 pesos and 35 centavos. For the 4D Lotto, the winning combination in exact order is 9, 1, 9, and 8. For the 3D Lotto, the winning numbers are 2, 0, and 5. And finally, for the 2D Lotto draw, the winning numbers are 14 and 23. There is one winner for the Mega Lotto 645 and no winner for the Grand Lotto 655.
Tomorrow, August 4, motorists can expect lower fuel prices. The price cuts take effect at 6 a.m. Gasoline, diesel, and kerosene prices will all be reduced based on the adjustments announced. Motorists are advised to check their preferred oil companies for the final adjustment.
Okay, and before we continue on with our program, starting today we have a new family member and we'd like to welcome Ms. Gabrielle Lopez.
Yes. Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much, William. It's a pleasure to be here with IPC 13.
Okay.
By the way, let's take this moment to recognize our very own anchor, William Thio, for winning the Season News Anchor Award. A round of applause, everyone.
Congratulations, William.
Thank
How
you,
do you
Angela.
feel about
Thank
winning
you.
yet another award this year?
Well, for me, again, it's just at least I'm still in the right direction. I think that's the most important thing, and then we learn our lessons along the way. Remember, I'm a lot older than you guys, so I guess that's pretty much it. So thank you very
Age is
much.
just a number.
Yes, I really appreciate it. Thank you to my IBC 13 family. Thank you. And those were the latest from the IBC newsroom this evening. I am William Thio.
We'll continue to monitor the stories that matter and bring you updates as they develop. I'm Angela C.
And I'm Gabrielle Lopez. This is 13 News, keeping you informed. Thanks for watching and good night.